All right, let's get into it. Today, we're diving into a topic that's everywhere, talked about all the time, prescribed constantly, and yet, honestly, it's pretty misunderstood. We're talking about vitamin D. We're going to cut right through the noise and get to the science behind it. So, what's the real story here? Is vitamin D this miracle supplement for our immune system that everybody says it is? Or is it all just, well, a myth? That's the big question we're going to answer today. Let's dive in. The confusion really starts with this paradox right here. I mean, on the one hand, vitamin D isn't a drug, right? It doesn't kill bacteria, it doesn't kill viruses, and it is definitely not a vaccine. But on the other hand, the data is just undeniable. People with low vitamin D levels get sick more often, and when they do, things tend to go worse for them. So, how can both of these things be true at the same time? Well, to solve that paradox, we have to completely change how we think about vitamin D. It's not a weapon, it's more like a regulator. So let's look at its true role as the immune system's thermostat. Okay, so in scientific terms, vitamin D is called an immunomodulatory hormone. I know, that's a mouthful. But the only words you really need to focus on are enhances and regulates. See, it boosts one part of your immunity while at the same time it's calming down another. It's all about creating balance. I love this analogy. Just imagine your immune system is like the climate control in your house. If you set the thermostat too low, you get sick. That's the infection. But if you set it way too high, the system goes haywire and starts causing damage, and that's inflammation. Vitamin D is basically the hand that sets the temperature to that perfect, just right spot. So here's the crucial point. Vitamin D's job isn't to just crank the heat up to full blast. No. Its real goal is just to maintain that perfect, optimal balance, making sure your immune system responds the right way without overreacting. So how does it actually do this? How does it work? Let's take a look at the actual biology and see what's happening at the cellular level. Okay, it's really a four-part process. First, our most important immune cells. I'm talking about macrophages and T cells. They have these special docking stations just for vitamin D. That's proof it has a direct job to do. Second, it amps up our innate immunity, the body's first line of defense, by making more stuff that attacks invaders. Third, and this is key, it tells our adaptive immunity to calm down so it doesn't overreact and cause a huge mess like a cytokine storm. And finally, it actually reinforces the physical walls in our lungs, literally making it harder for viruses to break in. Let's just focus on that second step for a second, boosting our innate immunity. Just think of it like it's building a really strong general-purpose defensive shield. Vitamin D strengthens our frontline defenses, especially in the lining of our lungs, creating a much better barrier against anything trying to get in. This quote just nails it. It perfectly captures what vitamin D is all about. It's not about brute force. It's about being intelligent and precise. It's about making sure your body has the right response at the right time with just the right amount of intensity. Okay, so that's the biology. That's the theory. But does it actually hold up in the real world? Let's take a look at what the clinical evidence really shows. Now, this is where we have to be super clear, because this is where most of the confusion comes from. Observational studies, yeah, they show a clear link and association between low vitamin D and getting sick. But that doesn't prove that one causes the other. For that, you need randomized trials. And what do they show? They do prove causation, but, and this is a huge but, supplementation only helps people who are already deficient to begin with. And this, right here, is probably the single most important takeaway from all the clinical research. If your vitamin D levels are already fine, taking more isn't going to give you a superpower. The real benefit, the magic, is in correcting a deficit. It's about getting the body's thermostat back where it's supposed to be. We saw this exact principle play out on a global scale during the COVID-19 pandemic. We saw a really strong link between deficiency and severe disease. And yeah, giving supplements to deficient patients absolutely helped their immune response, but it was never, ever a replacement for the main treatments, like antivirals or vaccines. It's a supporting player, an adjunct. It is not the star of the show. So, let's bring this all home. Let's deliver the final verdict and really separate the widespread myths from the actual medical reality. So on one side, you have the myth that vitamin D is some kind of magic shield that stops all infections, that huge doses can cure you, and that everybody needs to be taking more of it. Then you have the medicine, the reality, that correcting a deficiency reduces your risk, that it supports a balanced immune response, and that it works alongside other treatments, not instead of them. So if you want to put it all together, just think of the deficit rule.
The key takeaway is that supplementation really works its magic when there's an actual deficiency. It's about fixing an imbalance to help prevent infections, not about megadosing to get superpowers. It all comes back to its role as that thermostat.
Here's one last way to think about it, and it's a great one. If your immune system is this complex orchestra, vitamin D isn't actually one of the instruments. It's the tuning fork. It makes sure every single section is perfectly in key so the whole system can play together in beautiful, effective harmony. So, what's the final takeaway from all this? It's pretty simple, actually. Vitamin D is not a universal cure-all. It's targeted medicine for people who are deficient, and its power is in restoring balance, not just boosting everything for no reason. It's a thermostat, a conductor, a tuning fork, and it's a pretty amazing testament to the power of finding that perfect balance.